Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Today is going to be a very easy block, and as usual I'm trying to use up a bunch of scrap. So what I decided to do was to use 2.5-inch squares, and then I also have the 2.5 by 4.5-inch potato chips. The goal here is to sew together a 4.5-inch square. So you could actually use that as well, but you're not going to have the same effect. So what I did is I took the two 4.5, 2.5, sewed them together with a 1/4 inch seam. And then what I'm going to do is actually press the seam open. And then on the 4 2.5-inch squares, I press the center seam open, and this is to reduce bulk. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut each of these just once from corner to corner like this. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. So now that I have these cut apart, we're going to swap them around. So what I'll do is I'll take one with the 2 pieces, and I'll move it over to the one with the 4, and then I can do the other opposite. Those blocks look sort of similar, so if you want to mix it up a little bit, you could take some others that you'd already cut up and add those to the mix like this, or you could keep this one and then add another half of the 4 patch. So you do end up with 2 squares with each set that you cut apart. And what we're going to do now is the ones that have the 3 parts from the 2.5-inch squares, we're going to move those aside temporarily. And then what we're going to do is our third piece of fabric is a strip that is 1 inch wide. And I think I worked that out to be about 12 inches long. You don't need it quite that long, but you do need the extra length just so you have a little bit of wiggle room. And then what you want to do is you want to take the strip with the longer potato chips halves, and you're going to sew it right sides together. And you want to make sure that you have a good amount of overhang, because when this flips over, we're going to be squaring these off, and you want to make sure you have a lot of extra fabric. This is a great opportunity to use some spot glue to hold it in position so it doesn't move, or to do a lot of pinning. This is against the bias, so it will stretch, and this is why I'm doing the larger piece first. So let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you how I press it. So I don't know if you can see this, but I do have this sewn along here. That's what it looks like, and it does want to stretch, so I did put a little dab of glue. I used the Elmer's washable glue, either in a stick or the liquid, and then I set it quickly with an iron. So I've got this, and when you go to press it, I am pressing it towards the join side and not towards the piece, because it tends to roll more when you're trying to do it this way. So this is the way I found the easiest. So I'll just finger press it, being very gentle so I'm not stretching it, and then I'll take it over to the iron and give it a good pressing, and then I'll show you how to join the other side. So I've given this a good pressing, and you don't want to swish when you use your iron. You want to just gently go down like this so that you are not twisting it. So now we're going to take the halves that were the 2.5 inches square, and we're going to join it on the opposite side. And the best thing to do is to line these points up so that they're even. If you wanted to, you could fold these in half and mark them, and then line those marks up. I think I've got it pretty well done here, so I'm going to do what I've done before, where I'm going to put some little bits of glue under it, some pins, and then I'll do another 1/4 inch seam. So I'll do that, and I'll be right back. So here's the block all joined together, and now what we want to do is square this up to be 4.5 inches. I do have a 4.5 by 8.5 ruler that I bought for something else. And if you have one that has a 45-degree marking on it, that makes it even more useful. So all I will do is try to center this, keeping within the 4.5 inch, and then I will turn this down. It does, if you have the extra wiggle room to have this centered, that helps as well, but it isn't imperative to how this is going to get laid out. So I'm going to show you a sample of how I'm going to come up with a neat design using, I think I have 12 of these blocks, because I am going to use it in a placemat, but you could put these in series to create a larger size project. So I'll just trim this up and I'll be right back. So this, I'm just showing you the trimmings are quite small per block, so don't be afraid to oversize slightly if you need to. So this is what the block looks like, and these are the 2 ends of the potato chip, and these are the 3 ends of the 2.5 inch squares. So I have a collection of these, and I'm just going to show you a few different ways to lay these out. So you could do a zigzag like this, and going back the other way, and then continue that with the remaining rows like that. And I think that in itself is very scrappy and pretty. Let me just finish that. Some of these are slightly short, but when they're all joined together, I think it'll still work out. So that's one idea. And then you could also switch these around so that you have like a diamond shape going like this. And then these you just repeat going down and down depending on what you're doing. Or you could be doing something where it's almost like a border. So you're continuing it this way. And then those would be going the other. So that's an option as well. This would be kind of neat to do in rows and then have another sashing that went across to divide it up and then just continue down. I did find this is very flexible. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to be doing 4 across. So I've got the top row that's going to be the zigzag like that. And then for the next row, it's going to be looking like this. So it looks almost like the Dutchman block. So like that. I think that's kind of neat. You could repeat that going along as well. And then to continue it going like this, then you have kind of elongated S, and then it finishes like that. So that's a design I've decided I'm going to go with, and this will finish up about 12 by 16. This in itself would be a neat block, a larger one. And then if you had your sashing going around and then you continue it across. So let me go ahead and piece these together and then I'll show you the final block. So here it is all done. It measures 16.5 by 12.5. It is a very nice supersized block if that's how you wish to carry on with it. So I showed you before, there's so many options using the simple 4.5 inch block. It's a great scrap buster. I purposely picked some of the flower fabrics that were sitting at the bottom of my pile and they were just begging to be used. And because I had these strips, I had 1.5 inch strips. I cut them down to 1 inch. I was able to incorporate those as well to create some unity with it. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. If you think it's something that you would try or if it's too fiddly. I really liked enjoying putting this one together, and I'm thinking of doing it on a larger scale as well. So until next time, sew safely and sew with Debee. Bye for now and have a great day.